Knicks family, what's poppin'? It's your boy. Had to get my mic unmuted. Sorry about that. I got Tony Crow in the building, ladies and gentlemen. And we are going to run down training camp day number 2. Talk about some storylines coming out of camp today. And the first storyline that we're going to get into, folks, is Quentin Grimes. Quentin Grimes is in a walking boot. He was spotted in a picture. You know what? What's funny is whatever that picture was, the Knicks took it down, I think, because I couldn't find it. But he was spotted in a picture by someone in social media in a walking boot. So obviously, the Knicks then had to answer the question, and Ian Begley says this: Quentin Grimes practiced yesterday, which was Tuesday, but did not practice today due to left foot soreness. He's in a walking boot. It was viewed by the New York Knicks as a precaution. The ailment is currently seen as minor. And then he credits at Kuno, and he put a blank, I don't know exactly what it is, for seeing the photo of Grimes. Tony, hopefully this isn't anything serious, and it's precaution. You know, maybe his foot was sore, and they don't want him to put pressure on the foot to increase the soreness, so they put him in a walking boot. Because I've seen some people asking the question and saying, well, if it's just foot soreness, then why is he in a boot? And I would think the only reason why he'd be in a boot is so that it doesn't get any worse. What is your thoughts on Quentin Grimes being in a walking boot the second day of training camp? Concerns?
Hopefully it's precautionary. I wouldn't be surprised if it is. I think the Knicks have been kind of precautious all last year as well. It seemed like, some of the things last year turned out to be other than precautionary, but I think for the most part they've shown that, they want to protect players more than let's say in the past.
Right. How much?
I hope it's not. Yeah, I hope it's not serious.
Yeah. I just have a few questions along this line. How much? How much do you credit, the foot soreness to maybe his work ethic over the summer? Because obviously we want our players to work, but at some point you got to rest too. Because this is when you start to overuse your body parts, right? And then you get into training camp, and of course, when you get into the training camp, what's going to happen? You're going to go a little bit harder.
Yeah,
because you're battling with Cam Reddish for that spot in the second unit. You're also battling with Evan Fournier for that spot in the starting unit. So you go a little bit harder. You know what I mean? When you're looking at the offseason, at what point do you got to kind of shut it down to let your body heal before you get into training camp?
I think, one, every player is different. So,
true.
Some guys will be able to sustain playing throughout the year on different levels. Obviously not NBA level all year, but some guys have to work harder during the off season than others. I think as you get older, the rest and everything becomes more important as well. Not saying young guys don't need the rest, but you're gonna need it more as you get older than you will. You know what I mean? When you're younger. But that definitely could have contributed, especially if you're accustomed to taking time off, and then you don't. That's I think that's when the real strain, or that's when you could potentially hurt yourself or ding yourself up, get some nicks and bruises.
Right. That's him. What'd you say? Oh, I was muted. My bad. Yeah, that's. Yeah, you're right. Some guys are going to need a little bit more. Some guys are going to need less. And it is important that you and your training crew understand each person's personal preference as well as their body and how much their body can take. And sometimes it may take a little while to learn about that person's body as well. Hopefully it's nothing too serious. My question to you is, how much does it hurt the Knicks if he does have a long-lasting injury?
I mean, if it's long-lasting, then I think it does potentially hurt us. I mean, there's two ways to look at it, obviously. Open some doors for some other guys.
Right.
You know what I mean? But even with the door open, like, obviously I'm a fan of the team and don't want anyone hurt, so I would never hope that it's long lasting or serious in general. So ideally the wish would be for him to be able to come in or come back, be ready to go. And now I like the competition of it. You know what I mean? You don't want nobody to lose the job, win a job because of injury. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'd rather people be able to compete. But I mean, he's arguably, I've heard people argue he's our best defender. Mm-hmm. But whether that is true or accurate, that's another story, another debate. But he's definitely one of our best defenders,
right?
And it would hurt us there.
Yeah,
somebody or multiple people would have to step up.
Yeah, I think it would definitely hurt us there. You would have to hope that Cam could then step up and be the same defender, right? If Quentin Grimes is out for a period of time, I would think as a precautionary measure, he would be out. He may be out for the remainder of training camp if they think it's that serious. You know what I mean? Even missing training camp. How much does it hurt him even missing training camp? Right? Because that gives somebody else to come in, eat up the minutes when it comes to preseason ball. Right? And you never really get a chance to get your footing, to get yourself in gear. You got somebody new in the lineup in Isaiah Hartenstein, assuming that Quentin Grimes is coming off the bench. You never get a chance to get in gear with him. Cam Reddish all of a sudden gets in gear with him. You know what I mean? It hurts. I would think that it hurts Quentin Grimes more than it hurts the Knicks. I'm not sure that his defense is that impactful. And there's going to be some people that disagree with me, and I'm cool with that. I'm just not sure yet. I haven't seen enough of him to know if his defense is really that impactful. You know what I mean? So I'm not sure.
Now you preach it.
Now
you preach it.
I'm just not sure yet. We think that he can play really, really good defense. We think that maybe one day he'll be a lockdown defender. But we don't know. So I think it hurts Quentin Grimes more than it hurts the Knicks because just like Tom Thibodeau said, there is depth at that wing position. There's a lot of depth there. You know what I mean? So you can't afford to be hurt. So if you're just joining us, ladies and gentlemen, you see it on the screen. According to Ian Begley, Quentin Grimes practiced yesterday. That's Tuesday, but did not practice today due to left foot soreness. He's in a walking boot, which is viewed by the Knicks as a precaution. The ailment is currently seen as minor. Okay, so, some concerns about Quentin Grimes and being in that walking boot, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully it's not too serious. If it is, the Knicks have depth. And with that depth comes Cam Reddish.
And I think you were spot on because I agree. It hurts him more than the team. Mm-hmm. The team as a collective can figure things out, right?
Right.
And as you pointed out, chemistry starts to develop. So Grimes didn't play that much with Rose. You know what I mean? Quickly and Rose already have a chemistry.
Right.
So I mean, it's not, you know what I mean? Like you mentioned Hartenstein, but it's all the different combinations and everything. You know what I mean? Cam got to play some minutes with the start. I mean, excuse me, Grimes got to play some minutes with the starters. Maybe now someone else does. You know, maybe now Quickly gets some more minutes with the starters. Maybe Cam gets some more minutes with the starters. So it's all different. It's a bunch of different ways that chemistry thing goes.
Yeah.
Where that boosts the team without you, and it boosts individuals, like two pairings, these two pairings, this two pairings without you. So yeah, it definitely hurts him.
It definitely does. It definitely does, because when you think about it, last year he didn't play a ton of games because he got hurt, especially towards the end of the season, right, or middle to the end of the season. He got hurt and he was out for a while. You know what I mean? So he didn't get a chance to build the chemistry, you know, like someone like, say, Evan Fournier, who played majority of the basketball games last year. You know, but this opens the door for Cam Reddish.
Real quick, and he didn't get his opportunity until there was injuries and COVID.
True.
So even it's a shorter. It's not like he started the year playing and then got hurt.
Right.
No, he had to wait his turn, got his turn, got hurt, and then, you know what I mean. So yeah.
Yeah. But this opens the door for Cam Reddish, right, to step in and play ball and prove that he belongs on the New York Knicks as well as in the NBA. He's in a contract year. Now, Tom Thibodeau said today that, and you probably seen my video earlier today, that Cam Reddish, he's got to earn it. He was non-committal about his spot in the rotation. He said he's got to earn it. It's going to be based on merit. And, you know, there's been no decision made about the second unit and who's going to be in that rotation. Before we even get to Cam Reddish and his thoughts on the matter, Tony, what do you think about that from Tom Thibodeau?
I mean, I think that's fair. I think it's fair. We expect it from him. But like I've been saying, one thing we know about Tibbs, even if you don't get your shot to start the year, you know what I mean, to start it off, his motto is stay ready. You will get a shot.
Right.
Unfortunately, injuries happen, but he always stated that. You know what I mean? There's always a circumstance where fouled out, whatever it is, you get your opportunity, take advantage of it. So, and, you know, I'll speak more to that as in reference to Cam specifically after we hear it.
Yeah. And I just want to read what Tom Thibodeau said so that I'm not paraphrasing and doing those type of things. I want to get it exactly right so we don't start rumors. All right? He said the players are going to earn what they get. Obviously, we heard that a bunch of times from Tom Thibodeau. We have good depth at the wing position. I can't tell you right now who's in the rotation and who's not in the rotation. And this is from Ian Begley from SNY TV, ladies and gentlemen. Thibodeau said on Wednesday, when asked if he thinks Reddish will be in the rotation this season, that it'll be earned. And then if someone's not in the rotation initially, doesn't mean that they stay there. I've told you before, I'm not as wrapped up in who starts as you guys are. I'm more wrapped up in who plays well and who helps our team the most. We will see how it unfolds. My question to you, all right, we had the whole discussion about having a clean slate, right? And I agree with you what you said earlier when we were on Knicks and Bruises. Each guy can have a different clean slate. Clean slate can be something different for everybody. You know what I mean? It basically means I'm not going to hold anything against you from last season. I'm going to give you the opportunity. Just because you had a bad year or we had some issues last season or whatever, I'm not saying that they did. I'm not going to hold that against you. Basically, that's what I take from it. Okay? But when we look at, I don't know. Well, I'm not sure. I don't know. This is it's a tough one for me with Cam and Tom Thibodeau because somewhere along the line I feel like they're not really on the same page. You know what I mean? I don't. But how much do you think there's a motivational factor in what he says when he says, there's no one in the rotation right now. I don't know who's in the rotation. I don't know who's not in the rotation. It's about who plays well. We're going to see how it all unfolds, creating some drama, of course, and putting the pressure on the players to say, let me go out and get this thing.
As a motivational tactic, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, one, you got to try to bring the best out of all you guys anyway, right? Like that's one way. One way to do that is through competition. The sad part in a normal competition is there's a winner and a loser, right? And nobody wants to be the loser.
Right.
So obviously nobody wants to be the guy that is not in the rotation, that didn't make that cut. But even you just had it up on the screen. Just because you in there now, that doesn't mean anything. You know what I mean? Like that's one thing I think these guys are learning. These young guys are learning, and maybe a lot of us fans are not understanding. Like they're learning that they have to earn it. They're learning that make the most of their opportunities. Like, I mean, Tip says it all the time. You learn. If you it's not a loss, it's a lesson. You know what I mean? Like everything is a lesson.
Right.
So I think it's a great motivational tactic. I think it's true and fair. I don't think. I think some things are solidified, but I think the rotation is one thing that it may shock us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he may see something that we don't see.
Yeah.
And he should see things that we don't see.
Right.
Like he's there working with them, seeing the combination, seeing who works well together in the second unit, in the mixture unit, you know what I mean? In the 3-point unit, the defensive unit. You know what I mean? Like he sees all that.
Do you think in the past, Tom Thibodeau has basically had his lineup set when the season began? There's more depth on this team. And when I say in the past, I mean in the past as a New York Knicks coach. There's more depth on this team. Do you think this season he goes a little bit later into the season when developing these lineups, and experimenting a little bit? Last year, he said, we're still looking at the lineups, this, that, and the third. And I guess, he kind of had his lineup set, but then, remember, he took Kemba out to starting lineup, right? And made some changes there. So I guess he did go a little bit into the season still experimenting with the lineups. How far do you think Tom Thibodeau goes this year and looking at and experimenting with lineups?
You know it's crazy, Sin? Let's look at his first year as well, right? Mm-hmm. The first year, it was about stability. Like, he wasn't changing the lineup for nothing.
Nope. Listen, the first year, I remember specifically seeing a picture come out, and there was some guys in blue shirts, and it was Elfrid Payton, Reggie Bullock, Julius Randle, R.J. Barrett, and Mitchell Robinson. And I said, I think that's the starting lineup. People were like, nah, Elfrid Payton ain't going to be in the lineup, da-da-da-da-da. Started the season that way. And for the most part, ended the season that way.
Up until game 3?
Game 3 of the playoffs or whatever it was. You know what I mean?
So I do think we'll see more, if you want to consider that growth, experimenting, whatever you want to consider it. I think there's a potential that we'll see more of it. But I think it's also going to be based off of the initial chemistry, based off of the initial results as far as the record.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, because once you're winning, you don't tinker with anything. Like,
right.
And it's tough as a coach. You may see something that, this might work, but you're not going to do it on a winning streak. You know what I mean?
True. Very true.
So I think it really depends on the start of the season, where we are record-wise. If we're 500, I think you may see more of it. If we're, 5 games over 500,
right? Right. He's going to stick with what you got.
He's going to stick with what's working at that particular moment.
Yeah. And ladies and gentlemen, excuse me if I'm stuttering over myself or anything tonight. I'm a little bit tired. It's been a long day. You know what I mean? So if I'm stuttering over myself, excuse me. Let's listen to Cam and see what he thinks about this competition at the wing position. All right. He talks about a few other things as well, and we'll listen to that. But I want to get your take on what you think about what Cam says in this clip. Ladies and gentlemen, take a listen.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's going to be in your face every single day. I mean, so whatever happens. That's literally out of my control, but I'm going to make sure you understand.
I want to stop it right there, because when he says, I'm going to be in your face every single day, he was asked the question, how do you feel about the competition? Right? And are you up for the competition at this wing position? And that's where he says, for sure, I'm going to be in your face every single day. It's out of his control, but it's going to make sure that you understand. And I really, really like that comment from Cam right there, Tony. Right? I know we had a big discussion about Cam on Knicks and Bruises. Ladies and gentlemen, you need to go check that out, because it was a really good discussion about Cam and him being in New York. Does he really want to be in New York? About his motivation, self-motivation. And it was a good conversation, so you need to check that out. But I like that he said that. I'm going to be in your face, and I'm going to let you know that I'm there every single day. Right? Tony, I know you're a huge Cam supporter. I like Cam myself. I love his talent and what he can do, but I do question the work ethic, the drive, and there's things that have been said in this interview that makes me question the drive still. But I love that he said that. Can Cam do it every single day and make Tibbs have to put him on the floor? Can he stay in your face? And when he says stay in your face, I don't think he just means other players, like defensively in their face. Like, I think he's saying, I'm going to play so damn good.
He's talking to his teammates, and he's talking to Tibbs.
Yeah.
He's talking to his teammates, saying, all right, I got to fight for it, but guess what? I'm going to make you have to fight for it too. Like, you know what I mean? You're going to have to work harder than me to do it. And then Tibbs, I'm gonna make sure you understand. I'm not, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not, I'm not taking a shot at you, but I'm not content. You know what I mean? Like, like, I'm gonna make sure I want it. And then after that, it's out of my control. You know what I mean? Like, you make the decisions after that. But
yeah, and I hope that Cam is not content. Just some of the things he said in the interview, just kind of, people asking him, and he's like, I play in the NBA. I'm good. that it kind of concerns me. Not that it's the right mentality. I'm blessed, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm able to play in the NBA for the New York Knicks, play a sport that I love. You know what I mean? I'm blessed. I like that mentality from a life perspective, basketball court perspective. I want to know that he has that drive to not just feel content, but I want more.
And you know, I didn't mention this on Knicks and Bruises, but because I a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
Because what I took from it, and this could be my own like internal stuff, but I took from it like when you come from a dark place, or just the struggle of, you know what I mean, requesting the trade from one place, coming to the new place, having the wait, and like that'll bring you down, your morale down. So I think some of that stuff you gotta tell yourself that, and then you gotta really start believing that to get you out of that. So you know what I mean? So you're not slouched up and pouting and upset about your situation. So I mean, I kind of looked at it from a positive standpoint, but I get 100% what you're saying. But it goes back to, you know, another thing you've always said is he's so laid back in his demeanor. You know what I mean? So it like
Very much so.
It's hard. It's hard to, sometimes that'll factor into a judgment. You know what I mean? Like because you kind of want some more energy out of you.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
So I don't know if that's what it is on the court or in practice or everything else, or if that's just the way it seems because of his demeanor.
Yeah. Let's listen to some more from Cam. All right. If you listen closely, you can hear the questions, but I'll make sure that I let you know what they asked in the event that you can't hear the questions.
Has it been made clear to you, like, what you need to do to, be in the rotation and get minutes?
I'm still figuring that out. That's actually a really good question. I'm still figuring that out, trying to find my role, where I fit in. But honestly, I'm really willing to do whatever it takes to win, whatever that role is, whatever that may be. That's fine with me. We win, we all look good, so that's cool.
So, okay, I love that he said that, and so do you. I know, we had that discussion. We win, we all look good, and he's right, 100%. You all look good. If you're on the court, you all look good. But if you're not on the court, then people are going to say, well, you didn't really impact winning. You were a practice player. Maybe you impacted winning there. But, people want players that's going to play on the court. You know what I mean? So, yeah, he's right in theory. But if you're not playing, then how much does it make him look good? How much does he shine if he's not really playing?
That's a great question. Speaking of great question, one thing I was disappointed in this answer, because I felt like he misinterpreted the question. I thought he was asking what was the question? Because I think the answer should have been more about Tibbs. He said, "Have you been told?"
Have you been told?
And he didn't
what
answer,
you
"Have I
need
been
to
told?" He said, "I'm still trying to figure that out." Now, if you're told something and you're trying to figure it out, then that's bad.
Right.
You know,
Right.
You know what I mean?
So I think how he interpreted that question is, do you know what you need to do to get into the rotation? You know what I mean? I think that's how he interpreted it. And maybe Cam seems like a nice dude. Maybe he don't want to throw anybody under the bus if he wasn't told.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Or if they had a discussion and he disagreed, or anything like that, and he's like, you know what? I'm just gonna say I'm still trying to figure that out. Because I do agree with you somewhat, because he was asked, were you told? And he didn't really answer that. He just said he doesn't know. He's trying to figure that out. And
I was
think,
worried about the interpretation of that.
yeah,
Because you know, he didn't say no, I wasn't told, which is good. You know what I mean? And he didn't say yes, I was told, and I'm trying to figure it out. He kind of just went into his own mindset, basically.
yeah. But it concerns me. Okay, let me ask you this. When he says he doesn't know his role, he's trying to figure it out. Because later on he says something about, this is like the third day of training camp. We're still, trying to fit pieces together, et cetera, et cetera. Do you think he's talking about overall he doesn't know his role, he doesn't know where he fits on this team? Or do you think he's talking about with this particular team at the start of training camp, still trying to figure out where, we're all figuring out our roles? So which one do you think he's really alluding to?
I think it's more of the first one than the second one. And the reason I say that is everybody else except Brunson and Quentin Grimes essentially have been here.
Right.
They know what their roles are. They know you know what I mean? Like even the RJ whose role is excelling and changing, he still he knows what it is. You know what I mean? Like everybody else kind of knows. He's the only one that really has to figure it out. You know what I mean? Like, and I think he's got it. I think he's got it because and I don't know if you played the clip about the defensive part, but I think that's where that's the difference maker right there. Mm-hmm. I think he's figured that out. I think that's why he worded things the way he did. I'm not worried about my offense. I know that, you know what I mean? I know that's going to come, and I know what I'm capable of. And even if the rest of the team or whoever doesn't, they're going to see that. I need to show them the defense.
Right.
That needs to be the focal point.
Yeah.
Moving forward. You know what I mean? And then everything else will just fall into place. I think I said that late last year. You know what I mean? Like that's his way to establish himself on his team.
Yeah. Okay. Let's listen to some more from Cam Reddish, ladies and gentlemen.
What do you think is the best way for you to get in there? Like, what do you feel like is the most important stuff for you to focus on and do well during training camp in the preseason?
Right now, it starts with defense. Getting stops. I feel like I can score. I'm not really too worried about that. I can make plays. But just having a defensive presence is big time.
All right. You heard him. Having a defensive presence is big time. So he knows. He wants to get out there. He wants to get on the floor. He's got to play defense. So when he says, so he knows he has to do that. When he says he doesn't know his role, I can only assume he's talking and speaking from an offensive standpoint. Right? Or, right? I mean, that's what I would think. Because defensively, you can come in, you play some defense, but then he also says, I'm not worried about the offense because I know I can score and I know I can do certain things.
That's why I think he figured it out. Because he's probably looking at Grimes and saying, and this is no disrespect, just competitively speaking, I'm better than this guy, right? Offensively.
Mm-hmm.
How's this guy getting in there before me? Or how's there a debate? Blah, 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 blah. Right? I'm speaking like from a competitive standpoint. No disrespect, no, teammate beefing, whatever. Just from a competitive standpoint. Oh, he's showing it on the defensive end. That's how he did it. That has to be my formula. Once I show the defense can keep me on the floor, everything else will open up.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's also about I'm gonna say realizing that you're gonna have to sacrifice. He may want to be that all-star. He may want to be that superstar. For this team, that might not be in the cards. For this team, what they may need from him might be something else. You know what I mean? Like,
mm-hmm.
and I think that's why he's saying he doesn't really care about, like, or I won't say, well, he didn't say he don't care about points, but he said, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to win.
Right.
I think part of that, I think that is recognizing I'm gonna have to sacrifice somewhere, and I'm gonna have to focus somewhere else to help this team, and then the rest of the stuff could kind of just fall into place.
Yeah. So do you think he's? I mean, obviously, we can only go by what he says, right? And that he's willing to. All he cares about is the team winning, which wouldn't insinuate that he's willing to sacrifice. Once you get out there on the floor, it becomes a little harder to make those sacrifices once you actually start playing. And you're getting out there and you know, man, I can do this, I can do that. You know what I mean? Although the coach is asking me to only just stay in this little role right here and find my niche right here, but I know I can do this. You know what I mean? I just feel like there's a struggle with Cam. I feel like there's a struggle with Tibbs, with Cam. You know, not that them two have butted heads or anything, but just figuring it out. You know, and
you could be right.
I hope that Cam knows and understands what Tibbs wants from him. You know, somewhere along the line, I feel like he's an outsider. You know what I mean? I feel like he's an outsider. On your stream, on Knicks and Bruises, I seen someone say, hey, he needs to get out there with Quickly and Obi and them guys and hoop a little bit. You don't see that. Like Cam, you know, he's out doing this. He's, you know, training wherever he's training at. And I get it. Not everyone's going to do it. Neither did Mitchell Robinson, right? Mitchell Robinson's on his own wave, doing his own thing. You know what I mean? But even when Julius Randle comes back, you see him out there, you know, at the Chris Brickley runs, you know what I'm saying, the Black Ops runs with Jalen Brunson and, you know, Farron Hunt. It feels like he's an outsider looking in.
I just want to say, you could be right, except for I don't think it has anything to do with Tibbs. I think, because I can't see Tibbs talking to this player, not talking to this player, talking to that. But you know what I mean? So there's no way Tibbs didn't relay what he expects from him, what he wants from him. So if there's a disconnect, it's solely on Reddish's end. So here's the thing, though. I think you may have been right, but I think this is a part of me saying I think he's figured it out. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, he's in the contract year. This is your second team on a rookie contract. You requested out of the first team. It wasn't like they just said, we don't believe in you at all, or you know what I mean, we're not using you, so we're gonna flip you. You know what I mean? Like, you requested out. So even with the whole Cam requested a trade from the Knicks, I didn't believe it because I don't think that's wise, because now it becomes a reputation. Now it becomes diva-ish. You know what I mean?
Right.
At some point, you can believe that you're a star. You can believe that you're a all-star caliber player. But it has to, at this point, you're playing with fire, right? You can keep those beliefs in yourself, but understand it's not about you. At least on this team, you know what I mean? It's about the Knicks.
Right.
I got to do what I got to do for the team first. Everything else will fall into place.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let me get my extension.
This is going to be really interesting with Cam, man. You know, I hope it doesn't impact the team in any kind of way, but I just feel like it's going to be an interesting time period between now and either he's playing or whatever else happens with Cam. You know what I mean? I just think it's interesting, man. It's interesting. I see I see you got some smiles going on. Somebody saying something in the chat. Yo, you muted. You muted.
I was actually looking at the private chat. I don't know if you saw it.
Oh, nah, that's all right. I'll get to it. I'll get to it. I do want to shout out Donald Cannon. You know, as and we can get back to Cam and answer some more questions about Cam. But Donald Cannon hit me with the super chat. So I want to thank you for the super chat and get it up here on the screen if I can. There we go. He said Quentin Grimes equals Frank. Same start, always hurt. I mean, was Quentin Grimes hurt last year? I don't remember him being. I mean, I know he got hurt, you know, at the end of the season. I don't remember him being hurt training camp
or preseason. I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I don't know. But ladies and gentlemen, Cam Reddish is definitely an enigma for this basketball team. I do think he's an X factor though, because if Cam Reddish pops off, man, you know, it can change the outlook of the team because he does have that kind of talent, in my opinion. You know what I mean? He definitely has that kind of talent.
Another thing that I feel like, you know, if he wants to maximize his potential, definitely stepping up on that defensive end and making that a focus. And if he could, I don't know if he can, you know what I mean? But if he could get to elite level or just, you know, good level, right?
Right.
Where you know what I mean? Above average, good. He probably sees that as an opportunity to potentially make the starting lineup. Rather, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. Sky's the limit if he could figure it out. So,
right. If he can figure it out. Another guy that's got to figure it out, ladies and gentlemen, is Obi Toppin. You know what I mean? He's got to figure it out. And Tony, just like Steph and I spoke about the other day, every time Obi is in a conversation about his game, it ends up being confidence, right? That becomes the topic of discussion, confidence. It worries me about whether or not Obi is confident in his game. And those who joined us on Knicks and Bruises heard some of this discussion earlier. You know, but are you concerned? Because I know you were asking the question, so I don't know if you really stated whether or not you were concerned. Are you concerned about Obi and his confidence?
You're right. I actually didn't. I'm not today. I'm gonna say right now, Obi has a clean slate. So based off of what I seen late last year, and based off of everything that he said, I feel like acknowledging and knowing what the issue is. You know what I mean? I think that's half the battle right there. You know what I mean? So he's had his confidence booster, right? He's pretty much a fan favorite. So he doesn't really have to worry, in my opinion, about fans turning on him. You know what I mean? Like, right. For the most part, he kept a smile on his face. You know what I mean? Like, you've seen a couple times he was upset, visibly upset when he got taken out. But for the most part, you know what I mean? He kept a smile on his face, always said the right things, even in a post game where he may have gotten taken out while having a good game. And he still said the right things. So I think I'm not as concerned as I was maybe a year ago. Okay. You know what I mean?
Now, you're talking about, kind of like frustrations. There were times last year when I seen Obi get frustrated because he was getting pulled out the game. You know what I mean? He did. He felt like Tom Thibodeau was, should I say, picking on him? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Whether it be defensively, not being in the right spot offensively, or whatever it is, it seemed as though Obi was getting frustrated last year.
I think one time you could hear him say one effing mistake. like you know what I mean? One effing mistake and you taking me out. Like you could hear him say it.
Right. But you know, I worry about his confidence. I do, because it always seems to come down to that topic, confidence. You know what I mean? You heard him in the interview tonight. If I miss the shot, I missed the first shot, I got to be confident enough to take the next shot. You know, during the end of the season, that run at the end of the season gave me a boost to my confidence. I do think there's an issue there with Obi Toppin. Let's take a listen to Obi Toppin, and we'll do the same thing. We'll stop in portions of it, you know, to talk about it. But this is Obi Toppin, ladies and gentlemen. And if you want to get the full interview for either one of these young men that we just discussed, Cam Reddish, Obi Toppin, go to the Knicks YouTube page and check out the full interviews. Let's take a listen.
It helped me a lot just because, like, I feel like I was always able to do stuff like that, but like I just feel like coming off of those last games of the season, like it helped me a lot going into the summer. It kind of showed me what I can do, and basically just gave me a little burst in my confidence. Just saying, okay, you done it there, now get better in the things you have to get better in during the summer, and just start the season off right this year. So.
Obi Hartenstein last year was like a master finding cutters from the corner.
Yeah, facts. He's still.
Okay, let's stop it right there, because they're about to get into Hartenstein, and I want to get into an entire discussion about Hartenstein and Obi Toppin and how they can work together. All right, because I do think they can work together. But you heard him say, again, a boost to his confidence from the run that he had last season, at the end of the season, and then now he can figure out some things to work on, you know, to get better. And they did ask him, you know, what did you work on to get better, right? And yeah, right. So, you know, he talked about working on different parts of his offensive game. Obviously, he talked about playing defense out in space on guards. You know, we had a long discussion about whether or not he was detailed enough in his explanation of defending guards out in space and the work that he put in. You know, Steph and I thought that Obi maybe from his explanation didn't really put in the structured work to defend guards out in space, to get better defensively, right? Because the reporter asked him, well, how do you work on getting low? And really, Obi just said, hey, you know, in pickup games, I know I got to get out on the guard. You know, and I know I got to be there, so I got to stay in front of him. I got to do whatever I can to stay in front of him. But there's more to it than that. And what I'm hoping is that Obi just couldn't break it down that way. You know what I mean? You know, he's a young man. Maybe he just couldn't verbalize it in the way that I would like to hear him verbalize it. You know, but Tony, what things did you want Obi to work on over the off season? And did you hear him discuss those things?
To be honest, Sam, I feel like, and it sucks, but I feel like confidence was the main thing. Like, I don't know how you work on confidence, except for, that's why I think him having that stretch at the end of the season was good for him. I think he really did question himself at times of his capabilities, right? And his limitations. Will his limitations hinder his ability to be productive in what he's good at? Or even getting the time to even show what he's good at. So I don't know how much you can honestly work on defense, to be honest. You would know better than I would being a coach. Steph would also know better than I would being a coach. You know what I mean? Like, you could work on. I was always taught positioning if you're not quick. You know what I mean? If you don't have foot speed, positioning would be your alternate route of becoming a better defender, and effort. Like, firm believer in that as well. Effort. So a lot of times I always thought you don't have to be like great defenders. A lot of that is God given and it's hard to teach, but effort and energy and positioning and like IQ, those things you could work on and get better at.
Mm-hmm.
But that only comes with time on the floor. That comes with time in practice, 5-on-5 scrimmages, and maybe some one-on-one work with somebody. You know what I mean? Like, but other than so, I don't know if he did that, but I'm confident in his ability and what he's good at. Again, similar to Mitchell Robinson, and obviously he has more in his package in his bag than Mitchell Robinson does. It's really about finding that niche, knowing your limitations, and having that confidence that what you're good at is good enough to keep you on the floor.
Right.
And then work on little things. That 3-point shot, consistency there. That would be the biggest thing. Because if you can hit the 3, it opens everything else up.
Right. And, you know, one of the ways that you can work on defense, film study, right? You know, just looking at your positioning. Where should you be rotating? You know, when you looking at certain situations and saying, okay, I should have rotated here at this point. I should have rotated there at that point. I should have slipped over the screen, or I should have went over the screen or under the screen or whatever it is. You know, but looking at film and being able to break that down. Also, you know, just your defensive fundamentals. You know, they asked him about being low defensively. Right, working on those type of things, that's going to make you a better defender. Moving your feet faster, being able to dodge screens if you need to dodge screens. You know, there's tons of ways that you can work on your defense and getting better defensively. A lot of it comes down to footwork. You know what I mean, and how you can handle your footwork. So we'll see. What he worked on and how it looks. Tuesday is the first preseason game, and I'm pretty sure he's going to get some playing time out there, and we'll get a chance to see what he looks like. I also want to see what it looks like with him and Hartenstein in the game, because he seems to be kind of excited about playing with Hartenstein and Hart's ability to pass, lob the ball to him, find the cutters. We talked about this last night. When Obi kind of confirmed everything that we were saying last night in the way that he will fit in that unit. You know what I mean? And he talked about those two guys already developing chemistry. Let's take a listen.
Yeah, that's your cut.
Yeah, for sure. He's definitely. It's going to be amazing because he's definitely a great passer, and it's crazy because like every chance that we're on the sidelines watching another group go or something, he's telling me, oh, if you do this on this play, if you cut like that, just look for it. It might be late, it might be early. Just always know I might pass it. So having a big like that, being able to pass out the post and being able to stretch the floor, like, it's amazing. So we've been working this whole summer.
So he loves like looking off a defender,
Right.
So that you can cut and
Right.
like almost on like kind of a no look.
Or lobs. He got the lobs too.
Do you ever get fooled? Is the cutter by that, where it catches you by surprise?
Nah, because as a cutter, you're cutting to get the ball every time. Like, you're cutting to either draw the defense in or get the pass. But you always want to keep your eye on the person with the ball, because no matter what, like, if you're cutting to the basket, that's close to the basket, you're going to get the pass. You got to go right up with it. So, but yeah, like, he's great at finding us.
Yeah, so there you go, ladies and gentlemen. I really want to see what that duo can do and how they look, because he could be a guy that helps to unlock Obi a little bit more. Emmanuel quickly did a lot of looking for Obi this season. You've seen, a lot of oops between Emmanuel quickly and Obi Toppin. they had good chemistry. Obi would fly up the floor. Emmanuel quickly would, boom, recognize him, let it go up the floor. So you've seen Obi leaking out, getting some easy buckets leaking out. Now, you might be able to find ways to get Obi more involved in half-court set.
And Cam.
And Cam. And Cam. As a cutter. Definitely. Oh, without a doubt. Cam can cut. He does a good job cutting to the basket.
And that was one of the elements.
Spots.
That was one of the elements that we really didn't have on this team to utilize for Cam's strength. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, without a doubt. Let me get to phone call real quick. Caller, you live. Name me where you're from, please.
Yo, what's good, fellas? It's JJ from Brooklyn. How you guys doing, man?
What's poppin' with you, my brother? I'm feeling good, man. How you feeling?
Chilling, man. Chilling. Feeling good, man. Excited to get this training, preseason started. So about Obi, you guys were talking about Obi, and then a point about Cam, if I could.
Okay, sure.
The thing with Obi that I think he's got to improve on also is his handles and the rebounding, obviously. Because at times the handle, like he dribbles it like really, really high, if you notice. It could be a little shaky at times. So if he can get that dribble a little bit lower and I don't think he's ever going to be like a great rebounder. Like Randle's not going to be a guy who averages 10, 11 rebounds. But if he could average like, in his playing, I don't know how many minutes he's going to get this season, but I definitely think he's got to be a little tougher around the glass, getting boards. I don't mean just the easy boards for the putback dunks. If you could grab some defensive boards,
right?
And the thing with Obi is, you saw when Randle was out those last few games, 5-6 games. I know a lot of people were saying, and I get it, that it was versus some teams that were tanking and teams that were locked into a playoff seed already, but it was impressive. Nobody can really deny that. When him and Quickly were running the show, I think RJ missed a few games at the end of the season with the ankle. They were running the show like Quickly and Obi, and it looked good. It really did. I know there's the detractors, like I just said, that don't think the games meant anything, and the other teams weren't trying, whatever you want to say. But, Obi looked really good. The 3-ball, I mean, he came in the league as a shooter, right? So you saw how he was shooting from 3.
Yeah,
I think in the games he averaged over 25 minutes. I think he shot like 41% from deep. So, I think if he gets those minutes, I think you'll see the shooting improve. And once he gets in that rhythm, when he's getting those minutes, I think you'll see him improve. I really do. It's just about finding those extra minutes now.
Right.
I'm not sure about that.
That's going to be the issue, finding those extra minutes, man.
Right.
I think that's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for him to find the extra minutes. It's either got to be plays.
Would you prefer? Yeah, go ahead. My bad.
I was going to say he either has to play more with Randle. We're going to talk about that a little bit, or cut some of Randle's minutes. One of the two, in order for Obi to get more minutes.
Right. Would you prefer going small ball or going big ball? Say like one of them at the 3 or one of them at the 5. I don't think either is ideal. I don't think either is going to work too well. Defensively, at least.
Oh, man.
If you had to pick one, what would you?
If I had to pick one.
If you had to, right.
I think it would depend on who I'm playing. If I'm playing a team that, has a center that, maybe that center is 6'10 or 6'11, but, maybe he's thin and wiry, not much of a scorer, then I can say, you know what, we can put Randle on this guy and let Obi play the 4.
Right.
If we want to go small, and Randle could probably beat this guy to the basket. Right. If we're playing a team that's bigger, then there's no way I'm going to go small ball. Well, I'm not going to say no way that I'm going to go small ball, because maybe you can make them adjust to you. It's possible. But again, that depends on who you're playing. If you're going against Joel Embiid, I'm not going small ball. Right?
Right,
because he's going to dominate whoever that small guy is, and that'll be a problem.
Right.
So it really does depend on who you're playing against. If you're going to go small ball or you're going to go a little bit bigger by having Randle, in my opinion, play the 3, Obi play the 4, and Mitchell Robinson or Hartenstein play the 5. And I'll say this:
I just
if you
think
did
somehow,
go
some way,
With Hartenstein at the
Yeah.
5, that opens up a whole
Yeah,
dynamic with
that's
Obi and
right. That's what I
Randle.
was gonna say. If you did go with
Right.
Randle at the 3, Obi at the 4, I would go with Hartenstein at the 5 because his ability to shoot, and we're not saying that he's a volume shooter from the 3-point line,
It's
but
still 5 out.
right, you know what I'm saying? His ability to shoot from the 3-point line, his ability to pass, opens up lanes for Randle and Obi to get to the basket, to slash to the basket. Let Randle still post up down low,
No doubt.
and those type of things.
That might be Brunson's
no
favorite
doubt.
line.
Yeah. Go ahead, JJ. Go ahead, JJ.
Yeah, I just think you got to find a way to get Obi. I'm not saying 30 minutes. That's not going to happen clearly with Randle here, but 20, low 20s minutes, 22, 23. I think you got to find a way somehow.
I agree. I agree.
I think at least you got to.
I
He's
agree.
a top 10 pick. You can't waste him every year. Randall's here, right?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I would like to see
Can I make
Obi
a quick
get
point
minutes.
about Cam after?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, cool. So my thing with Cam is, if everybody's healthy, it's a big if, especially seeing what's happening with Grimes right now. But I just don't see where the minutes are going to come from because, you're going to have Rose, who's probably going to be the backup point guard, right? As long as he's healthy. I think quickly, I'm assuming would have to be the backup too. I mean, or else where is he playing? So, right? I think maybe you'll play him in an off-ball role with Rose. Or else where is his minutes going to come from?
I mean, I guess Rose and Quickly can probably alternate. Some when they're both on the court.
Right.
They go back and forth, off ball or on ball.
Exactly.
I think they could both do it.
Right, and then I guess Grimes, if healthy, would be the 3, even though that's a little small. I mean, I'm just trying to think, like, realistically, that's what I'm assuming.
I mean,
I don't think that's perfect. He's a couple inches short for the 3, but what else would happen?
Right, but see, that's where I think it forces you, because Cam is 6'8" and is the truest small forward on the team. I think it forces you to at least take a look at it. If not anything else, you gotta take a look at it because he's the only one. I mean, it would have to end up being over Grimes or Rose. Yeah. Grimes or Rose. It would end up being over one of those two guys. I think Derrick Rose is going to play. That's Tom Thibodeau's guy. Listen.
Yeah, he is.
But before training camp started, I was like, maybe Rose is going to be situational and Cam plays. But now, my tune has changed a lot. You know what I'm saying? Listen, Tom Thibodeau was calling and emailing and getting on Derrick Rose's nerves because he wants to make sure he's on the court. That's why he was doing those things. He wants him on the court.
Yeah.
He's playing.
For sure.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but you got to take a look at it.
My thing too is a lot of people are saying they want to start Cam, but I think most people are only saying that because they want RJ back at that 2. And like you were just saying, Sim, Cam is our really only true 3. Yeah. But I don't think that's a reason just to start someone. Just because it will help RJ. You start him because you think he's going to be effective. I mean, personally, if Grimes is healthy, I think he fits better. I think he would fit well at the 2, just starting here. He could defend a little. He could shoot. So I think that fits better, in my opinion. Because I also don't think you're going to have enough shooting. If you're going to start enough consistent shooting, if you're going to have RJ, Cam, who's never been a great shooter, Randle, Mitch, Brunson's the only guy who's averaging in the over 35% from 3 for his career. We're going to see a lot of zones.
Yeah.
So I'm just not a huge fan of that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, right now we just got to hope that Grimes is healthy.
Facts.
Just got to hope that he's healthy. But hey, JJ, I appreciate your time, bro.
Thanks so much, man. You guys have a good one. All right?
You too, my man. Appreciate it.
Peace.
Thanks.
Yeah, I don't know. This is going to be a question all training camp going into preseason, man. It's going to be fun to watch and fun to talk about. But getting back to Obi Toppin and his playing time, Tom Thibodeau, he continues to say he's not excited about that small ball lineup. You know what I mean? According to Steph Bondy, Tom Thibodeau didn't sound too eager to use a Julius Randle, Obi Toppin lineup. He said they've looked at it in practice and in small doses last season. I think the numbers show it wasn't very effective. Now, obviously, there's what did Ian Begley call? Said they're sleuths, internet sleuths, social media sleuths. There's been some numbers to refute what Tom Thibodeau was saying about, the numbers with Randle and Obi on the floor. As a matter of fact, some of those numbers say that as far as Randle being in a duo, that his time with Obi on the floor was the best duo that he was with. You know what I mean? And I'll take some time and look it up. Tony, if you're not playing if you're not playing Obi Toppin with Julius Randle, he's not getting minutes. He's not getting extra minutes, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Like, where else can you see Obi Toppin getting minutes if he's not playing with Julius Randle?
If you're not going small, you could be going big. Like we just kind of discussed a little bit. The question is, can Randle handle the three? I don't put it past him, to be honest. He seems to get up to play against the elite players in this league.
Mm-hmm.
I liked his defense against Durant. I could see him arguably, whether he's successful or not, but at least attempting to take on the challenge of a Kawhi, or a Paul George, depending on, who's playing where. I think he'd fare better against Kawhi than Paul George. I could see maybe a big lineup with Randle at the three.
Yeah.
Again, we're talking about a 2-minute spurt, maybe a 3-minute spurt at the most. But ultimately, I think Randle's minutes need to be reduced. There's no reason for him to play the full third quarter. You know what I mean? So there's 3 minutes right there that Obi could pick up.
That's true.
That you know what I mean? Like, so I think that's where the initial adjustment needs to be made.
Right.
And then everything else, like you said, has to be really a matchup thing, which, Tibbs is going to have to dig deep into his bag to do that.
Right. To refute what Tom Thibodeau said, right? Tommy Beer answers Steph Bondy by saying, he said, the two-man lineup of Julius Randle and Obi Toppin posted a positive net rating of plus 3.7 last season. The two-man lineup of Randle and Mitchell Robinson posted a negative net rating of negative 3.6 last season. My only pushback to that is, obviously, Randle and Mitch were playing against the other team starters. Who was Julius Randle and Obi Toppin playing against to get that plus 3.7 rating last season?
And how many total minutes was it in comparison? You know what I mean?
Right.
Are you comparing 5 total minutes to like 200 minutes? You know what I mean?
And there may be some other numbers that Tom Thibodeau was looking at. He could have been looking at some numbers on the defensive side that he wasn't happy with, as opposed to the offensive side. You know what I mean? But it seems to me though that Tom Thibodeau's not too happy about playing that small ball lineup, and we should not expect it from him this season. You know what I mean?
I actually remember that game. I remember after the game saying, "Oh man, the chat is gonna be going crazy." Oh, like see, you should have been playing them together, or you should play them together more.
Yeah, I remember like 1 or 2 games where Randle and Obi played together, and most of the time it happened when an opposing team was small and their center was 6'8", right? Then it allows you to put Randle and Obi out there on the floor together, you know. But for all intents and purposes, ladies and gentlemen, Tom Thibodeau, he's the coach. He doesn't like it. He said, I think the numbers show it wasn't very effective. There you have it. Doesn't look like there's going to be much Randle and Obi together in a small ball lineup, I guess. You know, and we'll see if he takes a look at a bigger lineup with the two. I think he did that once last year with Randle at the 3. I don't exactly remember the results at that point in time. Anything else, Tony, that, you know, from today's events and training camp that stuck out to you?
No, but if you don't mind, I don't think I had a chance to speak on Randle from day 1?
Yeah.
And I just wanted to. Actually, I did speak on him, but I wanted to shout out just the fact that he seems and looks a lot happier. You know, obviously he hasn't played the game yet, you know, at the Garden, had the reaction. But even his response to that, you know what I mean? I thought it was a great response, you know, in media day. And I think he's ready to leave last year behind him. And I mean, I said it beforehand, but I really think he's gonna have a much improved season.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that. And hopefully, hopefully the fans can enjoy it as well. You know what I mean? And it doesn't have to be so toxic, if you will.
Right. And, you know, let's just hope that Randle continues to stay happy throughout the season. If he's playing well, he will. And Randle mentioned it. You know what I mean? It's easy to lead when you're playing well, but it's more important when you're not playing well. And let's see what happens when the Knicks are not playing well, because you're going to hit that kind of a stretch.
Mm-hmm.
That's without a doubt. You're going to hit a stretch. One other thing, though, that I'd like to kind of touch on briefly, because we're about to get out of here, is Derrick Rose becoming more vocal. You know, I've seen people, you know, say, nah, Derrick Rose, he's not that kind of a guy. He's not going to be vocal, so on and so forth. But I think and feel that it could change, right? Last year, you know, Obi said that he was very vocal on the bench, right? And vocal doesn't mean that it's, you know, he's yelling and screaming at people. You know what I mean? That's not what vocal has to be. But he was helping people get to their spots on the floor, talking to them about small nuances. You know what I mean? That's also being vocal. Derrick Rose said that he's working on being more vocal. You know what I mean? So this may be the season that he says, you know, let me implement what I've been working on and just be more vocal in the locker room. That doesn't mean he has to stand up, scream, holler, and yell. Just say what's on his mind and say what he's thinking, because he's got experience in the league. He's got experience with Tom Thibodeau.
And Sim, I mean, you could argue he even with that he's been the most vocal. I think the thing with Rose is he doesn't seem to speak when he's unavailable, when he's not ready to suit up.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the difference, because all we've heard from Quickly, Obi, Deuce, even Randle at times is Rose's impact, Rose's influence, Rose's voice. And it's crazy because we don't see it. You know what I mean? Like we won't see it, but we continuously hear about it. So I think that's part of it too. The way he leads, he might just walk up to you on a free throw line or something. You know what I mean? Like in that little moment and tell you some things. We'll see it a little bit in like a timeout where he's pointing and showing some things. But for the most part, I think he was the most vocal as far as like leadership,
Right.
and having the impact. So if he gets better at that, great. But even more importantly, these guys respect him. You know what I mean? So that at that point, you don't have to be the do the, you know what I mean? Like you can literally just talk. Yo, man.
Right.
You know what I mean? Pick it up a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you can whisper it, you know what I mean? But they're gonna hear you like you yelling.
Exactly.
And even Brunson has that respect and admiration for him. So I think he kind of has to do that until maybe Brunson can kind of fill into that. Because I think it's going to be tough for Brunson to assume that role immediately.
Yeah. Nah, I agree. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate your time. I'm going to head up out of here. For those who are just joining us, though, appreciate you jumping in. And if you don't know, if you haven't heard, Quentin Grimes is in a practice boot. Not a practice boot, is in a boot. A walking boot. All right, according to Ian Begley, Quentin Grimes practiced yesterday, meaning Tuesday, but did not practice today, meaning Wednesday, due to left foot soreness. He's in a walking boot, which is viewed by the Knicks as a precaution. The ailment is currently seen as minor, so we'll be watching for the remainder of training camp, ladies and gentlemen, to see if Quentin Grimes is indeed going to be healthy. Does he miss training camp? Does he miss preseason? You know, how long will he be in his boot? How long will the Knicks take this precaution with Quentin Grimes? We'll be paying attention to it, folks. We'll be paying attention to it. I do want to give one ask to everybody that's here. If you are not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel right now. Hit that like button. You know, make sure you click the button to say, to get all notifications so you'll be notified anytime that a video drops or we go live or post in the comment section or anything like that, ladies and gentlemen. So please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button on your way out. And we're going to continue to keep you updated on everything that's going on with training camp, folks. You know, hopefully one of these days we'll get some video of the guys scrimmaging and get a sneak peek into what the lineups might look like. You know what I mean? Tony, anything you want to throw out there before we hit the road?
If you enjoyed this conversation, go check out Knicks and Bruises. We had another conversation, some of the same topics. Also had the Queen on there. Subscribe there. Subscribe to Dope Soul Sports Talk. Subscribe to Knicks and Bruises. MBK fan, man. Appreciate you guys.
No doubt about it.
Sim, appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you, my brother.
As always, it's a pleasure.
Ladies and gentlemen, I will see you tomorrow, without a doubt. Probably sometime during the day, you'll get a video, and then tomorrow night we'll wrap up training camp day 3. Peace.
This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.